Yo, what's going on, guys? I'm Jay Cartere from growonyoutube.com, teaching you how to be better. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing 6 tips to help you improve your accuracy in Rainbow Six Siege on consoles, by the way. So stay tuned.
It's been a cold winter and it's lasted far too long.
So the first tip is practice. And I know you probably know about this already, but we have to talk about practice because practice makes perfect. And the more you practice with your aim and the more you practice playing this game, the better you will get at Rainbow Six Siege and the better you will get at identifying targets, shooting them in, less time, and being able to actually stay on target. Obviously, I have more actionable tips, but I do need you guys to realize that this is not an overnight thing. If you want to get better at anything, you really need to put the time in and you really need to practice. Now, your practice could take the form of you just playing the game repeatedly and eventually trying to get better at it. But we will get into different ways that you can practice later, so I don't want to spoil it right about now, because you going into a game and trying to practice that way brings in a couple disadvantages. The first disadvantage is you might just get killed. And if you get killed, there's not much practicing going on in that round because you're dead. Like, all you can do is watch other people. And that's also an advantage because learning and practicing in the heat of battle will allow you to become better. But we will get on to different ways that you can practice later on. But just keep in mind that practice makes perfect and you will need to put time in if you want to get better at aiming in Rainbow Six Siege. Now, the second tip is to pick the right optic. This makes a whole load of difference. Now, just because your favorite YouTuber or your friend uses a specific type of optic does not mean that it's going to be right for you. And if you're using iron sights, then maybe it's time to spend some of that renown and to experiment with different optics. The optic that is right for you does depend on personal preference, so I can't tell you the best optic to get. A lot of people like to use the ACOG sight, and I believe that the ACOG sight has a lot of advantages, but it does have some disadvantages too. The ACOG sight allows you to pick off targets at longer ranges. It allows you to have better view at longer ranges, and it allows you to utilize some super sweaty, disgusting angles that can allow you to get some pretty sweet kills. But the disadvantages of that ACOG sight is it's always zoomed in. So if you ever get run up on by an enemy and they're really close, if you try and aim down sights, you will be at a disadvantage if they're not using an ACOG sight, as it will zoom in and it will give you a less visuals of what's going on in that particular area, because it's going to zoom in on a specific part of the body of the person that you're trying to shoot. Now, that can help. You can use that and still win that gunfight, but it will put you at a disadvantage. So I suggest against using ACOG sights in close range. Personally, I really like the holographic sight. I also don't mind the triangular sight. I'm not 100% sure what it's called, but it's got a little triangle on it. But I really like the holographic sight. The holographic sight is really similar to, well, the holographic sight has been in a lot of games. I've used it in Call of Duty, in Battlefield, and I am just accustomed to that sight, so it's easier for me to use. I like it for a mid-range, close range. Long range, you really don't want to be engaging with people at long range with the holographic sight, but I am not a long range player like that. I like to play mid-range or close up. So you need to think about what kind of play style you want to adopt, how you play, where you want to play, and what kind of distances you want to be having engagements at, because that will really determine what optic is the best for you. But once you get an optic and you practice with it and you stick with that optic for a while, your accuracy should improve. Now, the third tip is to play Terrorist Hunt. Now, personally, I don't play Terrorist Hunt whatsoever. Even if it's the first match of the day, I just jump into a casual match. So you could go with casual to practice your aim also, but the best way for you to actually have some targeted practice and specific practice on improving your aim would be to play Terrorist Hunt, because it gives you a bunch of AI opponents for you to aim at, for you to practice acquiring targets and practice your twitch skills. Although this isn't a super twitch based shooter, so don't really worry about that. You really need to just think about information. When you know where your opponent is before he knows where you are, you're gonna win way more gunfights. But in Terrorist Hunt, it will allow you to have a much more targeted amount of time dedicated to just working on your accuracy, because you don't have to worry about completing the objective, you don't have to worry about letting your teammates down, you don't have to worry about what the enemy team is doing. All you really have to worry about in that situation is improving your accuracy. So Terrorist Hunt is basically the practice grounds for Rainbow Six, so definitely use that if you feel like you need some practice on bettering your aim. Now the fourth tip is based around controls, and you really want to turn off your vibration. You really want to turn off your vibration in order to improve your accuracy in Rainbow Six Siege, because having vibration on, although it feels awesome, like when you're getting shot and you got vibration on, it adds to the tension, and if you're being shot at and you feel the vibration, it adds to that also, but the vibration will hurt your ability to stay accurate, as it will basically cause you to shoot all over the place at times, or it may make you panic more. I believe having the vibration off really allows you to focus more on your aiming and more on acquiring targets and doing that sort of stuff. Now, before we come off that tip, I do have an extra tip that I need to put in there. I should have called this 7 tips, but we're going to keep it to 6 tips. We're just going to make this a 2-part tip. Regarding sensitivity, whatever sensitivity you pick, I will do a video on my sensitivity and my setup, but whichever sensitivity you pick, you want to stick at that for a reasonable amount of time. At least play with that sensitivity for a week so that you can build muscle memory. Now, switching sensitivities on the fly or between each match, or just consistently switching your sensitivity, will stop you from building up muscle memory, so that will stop you from becoming good with that sensitivity. So you really need to pick one and stick with it and hone down on that sensitivity, hold down on those settings until you actually get good at those. The 5th tip I have for you is to make sure you're peaking at chest and head level. This will ensure that you get more kills, because shooting at the chest and head level will deal more damage than shooting at someone's legs. And if you peek around the corner and you find an enemy that you weren't expecting to be there, then if you're already aiming at the chest, you're going to be able to get that kill a whole lot more easily. And if you're aiming at the head, you're going to be able to get that headshot a whole lot more easily. But generally, you probably want to go for the chest, because if the recoil kicks up, you will get a headshot. But if you're aiming at the head and the recoil kicks up, you're just gonna miss. So aim for the chest as much as you can, unless you're really confident about getting that headshot. The 6th tip that I want to share with you guys, and this is a really important tip, is to use burst fire. You do not want to be aiming at someone and just totally emptying your whole clip. I am guilty of this at times when I panic, and I'm sure you probably are also, but burst firing allows you to be much more accurate with your bullets, and it reduces recoil, it reduces the amount that your gun is going to be shooting all over the place. So definitely think about shooting in controlled bursts in order to shoot and readjust and make sure that you are shooting on target. Also, you don't want to run out of your whole clip before killing someone, or even after killing someone, just in case there's someone around the corner that is ready to capitalize on that and kill you while you're reloading. So have good resource management and think about that when you're in a gunfight. If all else fails though, if you've used all these tips and it's just not working for you, then you should probably use a shotgun. And that was, of course, a little joke. Like, using the shotgun is a little joke. Obviously, you want to improve your accuracy, but do not underestimate the shotgun. Like, anytime I'm having a bad day with my aiming, or, you know, it's just not working out, the shotgun is a savior to all us potato aimers out there. So be sure to check out the shotgun, because you really don't have to aim that well with a shotgun. You just need to kind of aim in the general area of where someone is and get quite close, and you can pick up some really easy kills with a shotgun. Don't sleep on the shotgun. Definitely try that out if you're having a bad day with your aiming and you want to get some kills and help out your team. For more tips on how to get better at Rainbow Six Siege, check out my Rainbow Six Siege tips playlist and subscribe. Be sure to join my Discord channel where you can play games with me, find other people to squad up in Rainbow Six with, and more. The link is in the description. Thanks for watching and liking and subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next video.